What if one of the world's oldest epics wasn't just a symbolic tale, but a memory? A memory of a land that once existed, that thrived, and then vanished beneath the sea. We're talking about the Ramayana, an ancient Sanskrit epic written thousands of years ago. It tells the story of a battle between good and evil, between Rama, the hero, and Ravana, the demon king of Lanka. Most people today assume Lanka is modern-day Sri Lanka, but what if it's not? What if Ravana's Lanka was part of something much bigger? A lost continent remembered across cultures by different names. Lemuria, Kumari Kandam, Sundaland. Call it what you want, the pattern is there. Let's start with the evidence buried in the stars. The Ramayana isn't just poetic narrative. It's packed with over 600 astronomical references, descriptions of eclipses, planetary alignments, solstice markers, and star risings. Indian researcher Nilesh Oak used modern planetary software to simulate those ancient skies. His results? All signs point to one date, 12,209 BCE. That puts the Ramayana not in the Bronze Age, but at the tail end of the last ice age, a time we now know was marked by rapid climate change, rising sea levels, and massive floods. The Younger Dryas. And here's where it gets even more compelling. The star Canopus, called Agastya in Indian texts, is said in the Ramayana to become visible only after the heroes reach the southern tip of India. Such a celestial alignment is only possible when Canopus is near the southern celestial pole. Astronomical simulations confirm this occurred around 12,000 BCE, precisely matching the timeline described in the text. Ancient Indian astronomical texts like the Surya Siddhanta and Aryabhatiya describe Lanka as being located at 0 degrees latitude and 0 degrees longitude. But this wasn't the Greenwich system. The Indian system used Ujjain as the prime meridian. That puts Lanka's 00 point not in Sri Lanka, but deep in the Indian Ocean, south of the subcontinent, possibly near or even east of the Maldives. And if you think that sounds like speculation, consider this. That exact region is where modern science has confirmed multiple submerged land masses, land that existed during the Ice Age, and then disappeared. Let's talk about Sundaland. Sundaland was a massive landmass that connected modern-day Indonesia, Malaysia, and parts of Southeast Asia. It was above sea level during the Ice Age, an enormous tropical continent filled with rivers, coastlines, and possibly people. As the glaciers melted and sea levels rose, Sundaland slowly disappeared beneath the ocean. Now, layer an ancient Tamil memory. In Tamil literature, especially the Sangam texts, there's mention of Kumari Kandam, a now-lost continent south of India. It was said to be ruled by the Pandyan kings, filled with scholars, cities, and temples. These texts don't just hint at a flood, they describe it in detail. Cities submerged, kings displaced, mass migration. It's not mythology, it's trauma. Even the Greeks seem to remember this place. Ptolemy described a large island called Taprobana, located far south of India. Some associated it with Sri Lanka, but others claimed it was something bigger. Over time, it vanished from maps. Then, in the 1800s, Western scientists stumbled onto something they couldn't explain. Fossil records showed that lemur species existed in India and Madagascar, but not in Africa. British zoologist Philip Sclater proposed the idea of a sunken land bridge and called it Lemuria. Later, German biologist Haeckel went further. He mapped Lemuria and called it the cradle of humanity, placing it in the Indian Ocean. Mainstream science eventually abandoned the Lemuria theory, but geology didn't. In 2013, scientists studying the island of Mauritius discovered zircon crystals that were over 3 billion years old, far older than the island itself. The crystals had to have come from an ancient continental fragment, now submerged beneath the Indian Ocean. They called it Mauritia. So now we have Tamil texts, ancient astronomy, Western fossils, Greek maps, and modern geology, all pointing to the same place, the same lost land. But we're not done. The Ramayana describes the most famous architectural feat of the story, a bridge connecting the Indian mainland to Lanka. For centuries, that was considered a poetic metaphor, until satellite imagery revealed something real, something measurable. A 20-mile-long submerged land formation connecting India to Sri Lanka, known today as Rama's Bridge or Adam's Bridge. The dimensions? 35 kilometers long, 3.5 kilometers wide, a perfect 10-to-1 ratio, just like the Ramayana says. The Geological Survey of India drilled beneath the formation. What they found was layered structure, wood, coral, and stone placed above marine sand. This wasn't a random natural deposit. It followed a construction logic, a foundation, a superstructure, a linear alignment that matches what we'd call civil engineering today. The Ramayana even names the engineer, Nala, and describes how the Vanaras, Rama's army, used ropes to build the bridge straight across the ocean. Literal, symbolic, you decide. But the evidence is there. And there's more. Off the coast of Tamil Nadu, near the now submerged city of Poompuhar, divers have discovered underwater ruins, stone blocks, platforms, even steps, at depths that would have been dry land only before the last sea level rise. The dating aligns not with 2,000 years ago, but with 10 to 12,000 years ago. So let's put this together. We have a date, 12,209 BCE. We have astronomical precision, oceanographic maps, ancient memory, and underwater structures. We have Tamil literature, Greek maps, and Western geology, all telling the same story in different languages. Maybe Ravana's Lanka wasn't in Sri Lanka. Maybe it was a coastal capital of a larger continent, a place now called Lemuria, Kumari Kandam, Sundaland, or Mauritia. Different names, same pattern, same lost world. A high civilization swallowed not by time, but by water. If this resonates with you, subscribe to Awakened Epoch. We explore what mainstream history leaves out. Share this with someone who still thinks civilization began in Mesopotamia. And let us know in the comments, was Ravana's Lanka just a myth? Or are we finally starting to remember what the ocean tried to bury?